Futures and options on futures trading involve substantial risk and is not a suitable investment for all types of investors. Past results are not necessarily indicative of future results. When I use the word I in this video, it refers to what I teach in my charting course or what I author in my twice daily oral and written updates. Prices shown on charts and quote boards are in real time and take into account all known activity up to this point in time. And if you'd like to read more of this disclaimer, simply hit the pause key on your video player.
Good day all. Ira Epstein with your end of the day metal report, and this is your metal video for Monday, and this is the 7th of January 2019 and the time about 4:10 p.m. Central Standard Time. I got to get used to saying 2019. As you can see, a good day in the stock market. Most metals down a little bit with the exception of gold, and gold is in part getting a bid because the dollar's staying weak against a host of currencies with the exception of the yen. And the yen had a huge run-up, as you know, last week in what we'll call a flash crash in the market against other currencies. But given back a bit of that, we're also seeing interest rates starting to climb ever so slowly in this market. If we take a look at a weekly chart of closes, you can see how the gold has come up, finishing off today at $1289.90. It's a nice close. Market's come all over $100 off the recent lows that it's had, which is good for the gold bulls. You had an inside day, which is a pause. Now, remember, we had an outside day down on Friday. Today, the market's pausing. If you're going to lay what I call a trap for the bears, often how that's viewed is first taking out the highs of an outside day down within 2 business sessions, which tomorrow would be that high. Then we'll look to see where it goes. Now, if you take it out, what you don't want to do is reverse back under the lows. But as long as the market's just hanging like that, you go to your swing line. And the swing line is showing you that you still have higher lows and higher highs. So even though you have an outside day down, the trend is up. It's a warning sign, but it could be a catalyst also for potentially higher prices. The market is sitting well over the 18-day average of closes. That means the bias is up the way that I define bias. And simply put, when the market's over the 18-day average, I say it has upside bias, under it downside, and that acts as a filter for me if I get buy or sell signals out of other indicators. If I have upside bias and I get a sell signal, doesn't hold. But if you take out a bull trap high, a bear, this bear trap rather that I could call that, watch out, that could add fuel. Could the market go higher? Well, there's my dilemma. The markets as a whole trade within the black dashed lines called Bollinger Bands 95% of the time. Buying outside of those bands, you can typically do better. It doesn't mean you will. Give you an example. You closed over the band, you pulled under. How do I know you could have bought it there? I mean, every case is a little different. But if you bought up here over that band, just to give you an example, it fell on you. The rule of thumb is you don't buy over or sell under Bollinger Bands. You're looking for better entry points. The first time you hit a Bollinger Band, I consider that an objective. On the upside, that's where I say the bulls are coming out of positions. On the downside, where the bears are coming out of positions. When I look at momentum, the slow stochastic indicator remains bullish. In other words, both the blue and the red are going sideways over 80. Now, if the red closes under 80, it will be a signal to me that the odds favor price in the 18-day average of closes making a run at each other. Why the 18 and not the 100? Because it's closer than the 100 is. We got that? In the GLD ETF, you have the embedded reading, you have the higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. Do not have that outside day to worry about. Until you lose that embedded reading, this is a good looking chart still on the long side. When you take a look at GDX, all of a sudden you get an outside day down today. What's an outside day? It means you took out the previous day's high and low, and if you close lower on the day, that's an outside day down. So what that does for me right now is it gives me lower highs, lower lows. That's bearish. The bias, because the market's over the 18-day average of closes, is up. The two negate each other, and I have nothing, to be honest. And then when I look at momentum, it's just simply overbought. So this market has gotten up and failed so far at those upper Bollinger Bands. The gold-silver ratio has been on a tear from one number to the other. Went down roughly 5 points. Now what that means is up here you needed approximately 86 ounces of silver to get an ounce of gold. You got as low as about 81.5 ounces, and now the market's back to 81.87. The important part is, I think for gold to have a rally, you can't keep silver going to the downside. And I think that's supportive to that market. In the silver market, you still have the embedded reading. My eye immediately goes to that. If you take my charting course, if you're taking it right now, as many of you did over the Christmas holiday, you bought the course, you remember, when you see that, that's your most important thing on a chart. Support in the market at lower prices. You still have the pattern of higher lows, higher highs, and the market's backing away from closing over the upper Bollinger Band, trying to do something of a small correction. How big it turns out to be will depend on what the stochastics do, but as long as both numbers stay over 80, I say on the pullbacks, the pros will be buying the market until they see that red line close under 80. In the copper market, you have a pattern of a lower low and a higher high. Once again, you got under that lower Bollinger Band, and as I said, if you're trying to be bearish, often you can do better than selling under a Bollinger Band. At the same time, the market, if we take a look at these numbers right here, both numbers were under 20, under 20, under 20. Now, that was 3 days. You lose that reading here, which was on Friday. So to get a bit more of a rally is not a surprise to me, or an attempt to see price in the 18-day average try to make a run at each other. At the very minimum, the market's correcting an oversold condition, but often you get those two coming together. Obviously, what changes on copper and what makes it super dangerous is always Chinese-U.S. trade. What if the trade delegation gets nowhere? That'll be bearish as heck on copper. If they walk away tomorrow with a great deal, it'll be bullish. But the odds favor that what they're going to do is say progress has been made, and I don't know what that means, and that'll leave this market sort of in limbo. In the platinum market, we have a pattern of a lower low, higher high over the upper Bollinger Band. Again, traders that were buying this all the way up, I wish them the best, but my work and the work that I teach says you don't buy over upper Bollinger Bands. The resistance is the upper Bollinger Band and the 100-day average. You pulled back to it in an overbought condition. The trend is not up. You have a lower low, higher high. You have no trend. You're overbought and you're over the upper Bollinger Band. You only stay over that band 5% of the time. As I've said repeatedly, I think the strongest of the metal markets has been the palladium. It's at all-time high, so I don't think you can argue that it's the strongest of them. It is overbought. It is over the upper Bollinger Band. It is in an uptrend. I don't change my opinion. Over the upper Bollinger Band, no matter how bullish I want to be, no. I think that there are opportunities on pullbacks in the market. I'm not giving you trade recommendations, but I am reviewing what I teach. In the dollar index, you're down to the combination of the lower Bollinger Band and the 100-day average in an oversold market. I don't care what it does here. I think the pros are taking money off the table. I think the market has got a top in place up here until something changes. And what I mean by that is the Fed on Friday made a major change. They went off autopilot on letting the balance sheet of the U.S. just roll off at $50 billion a month. That doesn't mean they're still not going to do $50 billion, but it's off autopilot. That's partly what's behind the stock market rally. It's partly what's breaking right now the dollar index, because you don't hear them saying, we're going to raise interest rates. We're going to get another 3 this year to get normal. First of all, they can't define what norm is. I was on BNN TV today, and I made that point. The Fed can't define it. How are you going to define it? You can't. So I think what that is a watershed event, and I think that until proven wrong, I think a dollar top of magnitude could be in place here. I'm going to discuss this. I'm going to discuss Brexit and a lot more this coming Thursday at 12:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Now, I've sent out my invitation already to a number of you that have responded to our other offers. It will cover anything you want it to cover. You come into the webinar. It's free. You ask the questions. I'll bring up the charts. I don't care. A chart's a chart to me. If you have a stock symbol, I'll review it. I'm not a stockbroker. but I'm not making recommendations either. I'm telling you what I'm seeing on the chart. So if you'd like to learn, you'd like to ask questions, why not have a good time with me? It's about a half hour long. You give a call if you didn't get the invite. I've already sent them. So look in your inbox, your junk, your clutter. If you think you're on my mailing list, it was sent to you. Or call us 866-973-2077. My staff will send it out. You have a great day. I'm Ira Epstein. See you tomorrow.